So allow me to introduce Fawzi Hanano, who is the Chief Development Officer at Cornish Metals. Fawzi is a finance professional with over 20 years' experience in the mining industry and global investment banks, having been head of investor relations at SolGold plc, and a mining equity researcher at banks including Goldman Sachs, UBS, and HSBC. Fawzi will present on Cornish Metals' South Crofty mine project down in Cornwall. Over to you, Fawzi.
Thanks, Freddie. So today I'd like to give everyone an update on Cornish Metals and on the progress that we're making at South Crofty, especially over the last year or so. So firstly, our mission statement, which is to bring sustainable tin mining to Cornwall and to provide a local sustainable source and supply of the critical metal to the clean energy transition. And what you see here is a photo taken about a month or so ago, and it demonstrates how the team is growing. In early 2022, we were about 8 to 10 employees. Now we're looking at over 50, not everyone on the photo, but just shows how much activity has grown, and the team itself in Cornwall is growing. And all but one person in the team in Cornwall is local to the area. So for those of you who don't know South Crofty, it's a project that we believe is strategic to the UK. It's a high-grade and high-value project. It's been in production for over 400 years. It started initial production in 1592. First 300 years it was in the polymetallic zone, and the more recent modern mining starting in 1906 in the high-grade tin zone within the granite. It's a high-grade asset. It's resource averaging about 1.5% tin, which makes it about the fourth highest grade project in the world and highest grade project not currently in production. Now, it stopped operating about 25 years ago, not because we ran out of tin in the deposit, but rather because prices had crashed in the mid-1980s, at which point many hard rock tin mines did close. South Crofty kept going for another 13 years, which is testament to the high-grade, low-cost nature of the operation. Another thing to add, there will be it's a small surface footprint and zero surface waste. So all waste and tailings will be paced and backfilled into the underground void spaces. What you see here is a 3D view of the Central Mineral District in Camborne Pool, Redruth. And it kind of demonstrates the long history of mining in the area. You see all the yellow lines. These are historical shafts. You're counting in the thousands. And you see the blue-purpley area, that is the South Crofty tin deposit. And what we can see here as well, a lot of these shafts don't really extend very far down. They've only really explored the higher polymetallic zones within the sedimentary rock. So we believe there's a lot of exploration upside within the deeper granite, which hosts the high-grade tin. In terms of infrastructure, what you see here, the red outlined zone is the underground permission area for South Crofty. The yellow dots are all existing shafts that were in operation at different points of time for the South Crofty operation. And what we expect to do is the shaft, the one numbered number 1, that's Newcook's kitchen shaft. That will be the primary shaft being used, while the number 2 and 4, which are nearby, will be used as secondary shaft for egress as well as for ventilation. So there's a very strong benefit of a lot of existing mine infrastructure at site. So a lot is rather to be rehabilitated rather than having to build or sink shafts, which we won't need to do. Also, South Crofty is fully permitted for building new mine infrastructure, including the process plant. In September this year, we released an updated mineral resource for South Crofty. With this, we updated the indicated tons by nearly 40%, and that included also a 32% increase in the contained tin. So we're looking at a total within inferred and indicated of over 80,000 tons of tin at an average of a little below 1.5%. We also believe that there is a lot of potential upside to continue to grow this resource at South Crofty. as you can see from the image on the bottom left, that it is open pretty much in every direction. And the chart on the right demonstrates our view of how much additional growth we can bring at South Crofty to its resource, from the current 5.5 million tons total to upwards of 21 million tons, which would see a mine life extend quite considerably. But the increased mineral resource potential doesn't only hold true for South Crofty. We believe there is more mineralization nearby. We have a recent discovery, the White Formation, which lies about 1 kilometer to the south of the South Crofty infrastructure. In a 2021-22 drill campaign, we intersected about 3 meters at 1% tin at the White Formation. And what you see over here, the top red line is a historical mineralized zone that was mined for several, probably hundreds of years, called the Great Flat Lode. Very high grade and produce a lot of tin. The White Formation lies a few hundred meters below, and we believe it lies directly parallel to the Great Flat Lode, and that it extends at strike. We currently have a drill program there where we've drilled about 4 out of 14 holes of a 9,000 meter program. And so far, from preliminary holes that we've made, we're intersecting the mineralization pretty much exactly where we expected it. So this is very promising, and we believe this could be another district-scale mineralized zone that could add not only to the resource base that we have at South Crofty, but extend mine life and potentially increase the throughput of production that once we get South Crofty back online. And when we're talking about South Crofty, 5.5 million tons, potential another 20 million tons of resource from other South Crofty resource potential, we believe we could add another 8 to 10 million tons from this mineralization here if this comes true. Now, in terms of current activities, we've been quite busy, especially after over the last year or so, following the funding completed in May 2022, in which Vision Blue Resources invested £25 million out of a £40.5 million raise. Vision Blue are a strategic investor and hold 26% of Cornish metals. The funding was meant towards building a water treatment facility, dewatering the mine, completing a feasibility study, and getting to investment decision. So what you see on the top right, that is our water treatment plant. It was commissioned in October, and we had the official launch in late October. A year ago, when Richard would have been presenting here, that was just a concrete slab. So a lot's been done over the last year. And we have started dewatering of the mine about a month ago. So that's been a very important milestone. The metallurgical drill program is also complete, and with that we've also sent a 1-ton sample to Tomra in Germany to do XRT ore sorting testing as well as DMS, and the results have been much better than expected, with about 50% mass rejection and only 3 to 5% metal loss. So this will have potential benefits to not just the mineral plant design, but also towards the capital of the plant and the operating costs. The feasibility study is also well underway. A lot of components have been completed, and several that are currently in progress, including the mine plan that will be based on the updated mineral resource that we put out about a couple of months ago. So with regards to the dewatering, that started in beginning of November. We're about a month into it. It's going to be done over a 3-phase process over an 18-month expected period. First stage, which what we're currently doing, we have 2 submersible pumps hanging at the 195 fathom level, so that's about 360 meters below. That will run for the first 8-9 months, pumping the water down to that level. Once we get there, there's an existing pump station in the middle running down the shaft. That will be refurbished, and the 2 submersible pumps lowered all the way to the bottom, to the 400 fathom level, where we will continue to completely dewater the bottom of the mine. So an overall 18-month period from start of dewatering. Now, our plan at South Crofty is to modernize the mine For example, the use of trackless mine equipment, so it would be much more mechanized, less people-intensive operation. So any image anyone has of Ross Poldark with his chisel and hammer, that can pretty much be erased from memory. Also, as I mentioned before, ore sorting is a technology that wasn't there over 25 years ago when this mine was in operation. So that will have a lot of impact, positive impact on the process plant design and on the mine plan. So with regards to the process plant, as I mentioned before, we have full planning permission to build this. It will be located just behind where the current water treatment facility is. It will be low visual impact, low noise, low dust, so everything very important for an operation that is very close to an urban area within Camborne and Poole. And we're also exploring renewable energy opportunities. So for example, within the water treatment plant, we have 2 hydro turbines at the bottom of the shaft where the water from the plant is being discharged, and that could generate about 15% of the power required to run the water treatment plant. Additionally, the mine water currently sitting there is at a constant about 24 degrees. So we're looking to use that to heat the offices, potentially the local leisure center, as well as we could potentially heat up to 800 homes. So this is something that we're working with the local council on in terms of how we could harness the heat of the water that's just sitting there in the mine. So with regards to the timeline, we just started the mine dewatering about a month ago. We're looking at about a 3-year period to get to first ore production, first tin concentrate production, so by the end of 2026. The main components being, of course, the mine dewatering, which takes about half of that time, completing the feasibility study, and then, of course, construction of the process plant, which would be the main component of capital for the construction and getting this mine back into production. So overall, in summary, we believe that Cornish Metals does present a very attractive investment opportunity. We wholly own the South Crofty mine. It's a high-grade, high-value project. It's fully permitted and benefits from a lot of existing mine infrastructure, as well as being close to other infrastructure, including access to power and transport. We have strong community support, as well as local government support. And with regards to community support, Cornwall has a history of hundreds of years in tin mining and other mining. And it is something that, when talking to the local community, they would like to see this come back into production. And that's something that's very important, to have that social license. And we continue to be in very close dialogue, updating the community in terms of progress with the operation. We have very long operating history, which means that we have very good mining in terms of very good data in terms of the mining, processing, and recoverability of the ore. There's also significant growth potential at South Crofty and at nearby targets. As I mentioned, this will be a very low-impact underground operation. And as Jeremy had mentioned, tin will benefit from continued growth for technology metals, and South Crofty presents an opportunity for domestic supply of tin to the UK and Europe. Thank you very much.